Good morning and welcome to Big Mouth. So let's look at the rise and fall of Georgia from Love Island. The whole intention of anyone entering a reality show, I should know because I've been on one, is to manipulate you into thinking they're the most genuine, most moral, most nicest, upstanding person in the world. But it's just a performance, it's just an act. Whoever you love on Love Island, one thing you must realise, they are far from genuine. So Georgia came in with a game plan like everybody does. Fact number one, she came in with two intentions: to couple up with a very popular young man, Josh, check, and to play this performance of being this really loyal, nice young woman. What was she doing when she was with Josh? She was talking about keeping him on his toes. Surprise, surprise, she's been saying the same thing about Sam. But her big tactic was chasing after people when they were upset. We saw her do that a lot with Laura. Now, she went on to Laura because Laura was more of an older lady. She lacked confidence because of her age, because of the differences between her and the other girls. So she latched onto that because she thought that would be good and the audience would like that. Now, she did manipulate most of the female audience. I saw through it straight away. So everything was going well for Georgia until Josh came to his senses and realised she was a bunny boiler. Went to Casa Amor, found Kaz, came back with Kaz. From that moment onwards, Georgia's mask slipped. She didn't know what to do. She's not used to dealing with rejection, and that was the biggest, most public rejection she ever had. Her game had not worked. She couldn't believe it. She went insane. And you saw what she was doing. Her arrogance came out. You know, she was telling Josh that she didn't feel he was happy. She was arrogant enough to believe that Josh would come back, but Josh was never going to come back. Because pretty clearly, as well as Josh being a stand-up guy and someone you'd love to hang with, he had the intellect to see through this woman and think, I cannot spend the rest of my journey on this show with this lunatic. So he comes back with Kaz. So she's in trouble. And of course, the public are really backing her because it really did look like, from her fans' point of view, that Josh was a really bad guy and he did a bad thing. Josh is not a bad guy. He didn't do a bad thing. He was looking for an escape plan from day one. And Casa Amor was his escape plan, and he did it really well. So already Georgia's game plan of being this nice, friendly, charitable young woman had fallen. So she chooses Sam. She chooses the gay guy who hasn't come out of the closet because he's safe. He's easy. He isn't going to rock the boat. He isn't going to challenge her. Because I would suspect that Georgia goes with guys she can pussy whip because it's easy. She doesn't want anyone with a personality. And it did seem when Josh was with Georgia, he didn't have much of a personality and he was boring. It was only when he got with Kaz that we saw him having a laugh, you know, bonding with the other lads. And we started to see that actually Josh was a stand-up guy. And the real issue here is Georgia. So really, it's Josh, in his own way, who unmasked Georgia. And she couldn't handle the rejection. Another thing we saw recently is when she started to discover in Twitter bingo that the public didn't really like her as much as she thought they did. Now, this really upset Georgia because she's someone who gets off on manipulating and fooling people. And once she realised she wasn't doing that and she wasn't able to do that, she was getting frustrated. I would imagine this is a very, very spoilt young woman, maybe an only child. I don't know. I'm just guessing. Maybe you can do some investigating and prove me right or prove me wrong. So because she's not used to rejection, because she's not used to not successfully manipulating people, especially men, young men, it's been a big problem. And even though Sam is this, as far as I'm concerned, a closet gay, he's trying to play the part of this straight guy. He's not doing it very well. So I think purposely the producers of Love Island came up with this scenario, which kind of, went fully fledged last night and really unmasked both Sam, but especially Georgia. So I haven't caught up with last night's Love Island, but I've seen a lot of clips and I've seen all the posts, on Twitter as well. So I pretty much know what happened. So it was very clever by the producers of Love Island to do that because they knew she was never going to leave the show. Because ultimately, everyone goes on Love Island and reality shows for the fame game, to become famous. Nobody goes on Love Island to fall in love. The whole point of Love Island is they're there to manipulate you into thinking they're there to fall in love. And when they couple up with someone, they want to manipulate and fool you into thinking they're going to be a proper couple so they can win the 50k. There's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't make them bad people. And one of the things I will say on Georgia's behalf, all these judgmental people, especially women, saying, oh, why are they pretending that they decide to stay on the show and this and that. The point is, of course they want to stay on the bloody show. And of course they're not going to be honest. Why should they be honest? Are you and me honest about our every intention in everyday life? Of course we're not. So why should they? So really people just shut the fuck up about it because no one's moral. No one's always honest. We want people to think we're the nicest moralistic people, but we're not. Georgia is just a 20-year-old girl who likes and gets off on manipulating people and winning and getting her own way. And you can see with her every move, the way she was acting when Caroline revealed the twist. She was throwing things about. It was like watching a spoiled child, because I've done a lot of psychology and I find it very easy to see through people. And she's not intelligent enough to fool anyone. And the problem is, she thinks she's intelligent enough. So what happened with her and Danny last night with the argument I saw a clip of? It was very interesting. Danny saw it as an opportunity to one-up herself against Georgia, to make the audience say, oh, look, Danny's really moral and Georgia isn't. And I think that Danny has played the best game. Her performance is wonderful. There is nothing genuine about Danny. I saw her talk in the room on her own about Alex, and I just saw through it, very fake. I'm really happy for him. But you can see through her, she's not as genuine as she comes across, as she has got reality show experience. Not on a high level, but she has. So she's playing a really good game. But I think what happened last night was, with that argument, I think the audience are going to be split between her and Georgia. And this is just, if you're an Alex and Alex fan, like me, and you want that couple to win this show, because Alex just comes across as such a wonderful human being. Again, he could be playing us. I don't care. He's playing a great game if that's the case. But at least he comes across as a young man who's genuinely come on this show to fall in love, unlike the rest of them. Now, they thought he was cannon fodder. So this is why they rallied round him, because they thought, he's no competition to us. But what's going to happen, I would think, in the next couple of weeks, which is the final couple of weeks, they're going to know he's got a big chance of winning this thing. And that's when the reality show clause, really come out, because it's a war. I remember Craig from Big Brother 6 admitting that he studied The Art of War, which is a book you can get out in the library. And if you study it and you learn the tricks, it's very interesting. Now, for Craig, he nearly got away with it, but ultimately he was a nutter, and that came across, and he was booted out in a shock eviction on Big Brother. For Georgia, it wouldn't surprise me if Georgia studied The Art of War, and I think the first half of her Love Island experience was very intelligent, and it was a good game. She fooled a lot of people, as I say, not me. But ultimately, the rise and fall of Georgia is this, that her mask slipped once she suffered the rejection from Josh, because she never saw it coming. She never saw it coming. And I just feel that she's a young woman who always gets what she wants. And this is the problem in life. Now, personally, if I was a friend of hers, her mother or her father or whoever, I would have given her a long lesson, given her a reality check a long time ago. Someone who cares about her just has to take her to one side and say, look, you're making a twat of yourself. But the problem is, because they've probably spoiled her, they're not going to tell her what she's doing is wrong. They're probably too afraid. They created a monster by now. So even though she's there for now, ultimately, Georgia's game is over. and she's gone. Even if she couples up with one of these new needle dicks, it isn't going to work. It isn't going to last. She can't win this show. It's game over for her. But the game on the outside world is just beginning, because she's going to make a lot of dough.